Okay, so we started going over Inna wa akhawatuha. Inna and her sisters, which is the next group of nawasikh. Nawasikh being, as you know, the abrogators of the judgment of the mubtada and the khabar. Before I forget, so there was a question asked last week. You say huruf and you say ahruf for particles as a plural for harf. Do they mean the same thing? And I said one of them is jam'u qillah, plural for few. And the other is jam'u kathra, plural for many. So which one is for which? Ahruf is for few. And huruf is for many. But there appears that I might have also made a mistake. I didn't yet verify that I did make the mistake, which is that what I said was many is from 3 to 9, and then a lot is from 10 and beyond. So probably it's that few is from 3 to 10, not to 3 to 9. And then many is for more than 10. We'll check it though, insha'Allah ta'ala. So we started talking about Inna wa akhawatuha, and we said what their function is to make the noun mansub and to make the predicate marfu', thereby emphasizing the predicate. And we discussed their meanings. Now Ibn Hisham wants to go further and tell you when these particles would be deactivated. They won't function like I just told you they function. He says here, may Allah have mercy upon him. Asl, original text. Illam taqtarin bihinna mal harfiyah. As long as ma, the particle ma is not associated with them. Meaning, they function this way, they make the noun mansub and they make the predicate marfu' as long as the particle ma is not associated with them. Nahu, such as annama ilahukum ilahun wahid, which means that your Lord is, or that your God is one God. So you have here anna, and the function of anna alone is to make the noun mansub and to make the predicate marfu'. But we found here the noun is marfu' and the predicate is marfu'. So that means it's just mubtada and khabar then. Then that means that anna has been deactivated. That means that anna has been deactivated. What deactivated it? Ma, which is a particle here. So that's the shahid, that's the reference or a reference for this case in Nahu. That's an evidence for this case in Arabic language, because the Quran is evidence for the Arabic language. The Quran is the top evidence for the Arabic language. What's the second rank evidence for the Arabic language? What's the second ranking evidence for the Arabic language? I'll give you only a 5 count here. 5. You said hadith. No. 4. The old Arabs. That's correct answer. The speech of the ancient Arabs. هكذا. And why not the hadiths? Not the hadiths because it's not for sure that the wordings of the hadiths are the very words of the Prophet himself, alayhi salatu wassalam. Because the companions were allowed to convey the hadiths of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam by meaning. So had we been sure that those were the very words of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, then yes, it would be evidence for the Arabic language. And sometimes they do cite a hadith for proof in the Arabic language. But you notice, we didn't mention many hadiths. We mentioned plenty of ayahs. We mentioned plenty of lines of poetry. Every now and then we mention a proverb. So that's the reason there. إلا ليت فيجوز الأمران. The author says, except for Layta, this one of all the sisters of Inna can be associated with Ma and still work, will still be active or activated. Or you can deactivate it. If you put Ma on Layta, if you put Ma on Layta, then you can activate it or deactivate it. That's why he said فَيَجُوزُ الْأَمْرَانِ. Then both cases would be permissible. الشرح, the explanation. إنما تنصب هذه الأدوات الأسماء وترفع الأخبار بشرط ألا تقترن بهن ما الحرفية. He says merely إنما is for hasr, that means limitation. So إنما means merely, only, or something like that. So these tools make the nouns mansub and make the predicates marfu' only under the condition that they are not associated with ma, the particle ma. فإن اقترنت بهن بطل عملهن. If these particles are associated with ma, then they will be deactivated. وَصَحَّ دُخُولُهُنَّ عَلَى الْجُمْلَةِ الْفِعْلِيَّةِ. And then, when you deactivate them, they will validly be put in front of a verbal sentence. Then they will validly be put in front of a verbal sentence. So look what he did there. This sentence, his first sentence here. If you take ma off of inna here, so then you only had inna, then you can't put inna in front of this word here. Tansib, which is a verb, You'd have to put it in front of a noun, like Zaydan, inna Zaydan, for example. You can't say inna tansibu. That particle can't even go in front of a verb. It can't be introduced or inserted into or incorporated into a verbal sentence. But if you put ma on it, then you will deactivate it, and then you'll be able to put it in front of a verb. إنما تنصب هذه الأدوات الأسماء وترفع الأخبار. So the author gave us an example right there inside of his paragraph. Rahimahullah. You said in the text for the verse you have it with kasra innama. Which ayah is this? Okay, let me look in my copy. Yeah, with the kasra. إن لم تقترن بهن ما الحرفية نحو إنما الله إله واحد. That's what's in my metin here. And then, but down in the sharh, قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد. So that's how we read it. And the ayah in Surah Al-Anbiya, it is with fatha. So if there's another ayah that has kasra, then that's the ayah. If Ibn Hisham is citing the ayah from Surah Al-Anbiya, then it has fatha. Unless there's a rule that I don't know about, like separating this word, if it has fatha, will make it turn to a kasra. I never heard of such a rule. I don't know it. So just saying though, because there are some things like that. Sometimes when you connect the word in Arabic, you'll say it one way. When you disconnect it or stop on it, you say it a different way. So that's the best I have for you there. So Ibn Hisham said, وَصَحَّ دُخُولُهُنَّ عَلَى الْجُمْلَةِ الْفِعْلِيَّةِ. And then it would be correct to put them in front of verbal sentences. قال الله تعالى. Allah the Exalted said, قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد. This means, say, O Muhammad, إنما يوحى إلي, merely what is revealed to me, أنما إلهكم إله واحد, is that your God is one God. So this is a great shahid here. Why? Because look what it has. Innama coming in front of a verb, and annama being deactivated. And so both the noun and the predicate are marfu'. Innama coming in front of the verb means that it's deactivated. وَقَالَ تَعَالَى, and the Exalted said, كَأَنَّمَا يُسَاقُونَ إِلَى الْمَوْتِ, as if they are driven to death, as if they are driven towards death. So كَأَنَّمَا came in front of a verb, يُسَاقُون, that means it's been deactivated. وقال الشاعر, and the poet said, فوالله ما فارقتم فوالله ما فارقتكم قاليا لكم ولكنما يقضى فسوف يكون فوالله ما فارقتكم قاليا لكم ولكنما يقضى فسوف يكون. So here's the shahid. ولكنما. Now the way it's written here, lakin and ma are not together. Let me look at my copy here. I don't know an imlat rule here. What's the rules for writing? Which field is that? How to write words out. That's imlat. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah. ولكنما. In my copy also, it's not connected. So what does this line of poetry mean? فَوَاللَّهِ مَا فَارَقْتُكُمْ قَالِيًا لَكُمْ. He says, so I swear to God, I have not parted ways with you, you plural. I have not parted ways with you as a despiser of you. I have not parted ways with you as a despiser of you, not because I hate you. وَلَكِنَّمَا يُقْضَى فَسَوْفَ يَكُونُ. However, whatever was decreed shall be. However, whatever was decreed shall be. So the shahid here is لَكِنَّمَا, even though ma is not written with lakin, coming in front of the verb yuqda, which means then that it has been deactivated. وقال الآخر, and another poet said, أعيد نظرا يا عبد قيس لعلما أضاءت لك النار الحمار المقيدا. So I don't know how to explain this line of poetry, but the shahid here is that he says, لعلما أضاءت لك النار الحمار المقيدا. لعلما أضاءت. أضاءت is a verb. And لعل was able to come in front of this verb because of ma. ويستثنى منها ليت. And excluded from this rule is late. Minha, what does the pronoun here, ha, go back to? I want to be sure. I think it goes back to هذه الأدوات. هذه الأدوات. Or just here. Excluded from these tools. Is later. فإنها تكون باقية مع ما على اختصاصها. For indeed it remains with ma having its specialties. بالجملة الاسمية فلا يقال ليت ما قام زيد فلذلك أبقوا عملها. على اختصاصها, here this period shouldn't be here. فإنها تكون باقية مع ما على اختصاصها بالجملة الاسمية. So later it will remain even when associated with ma being special to nominal sentences, being particular to nominal sentences. فَلَا يُقال. So then it won't be said, لَيْتَمَا قَامَ زَيْد. So قَامَ زَيْد, قَامَ is a verb. Zayd is the doer of the verb. You don't say لَيْتَمَا here. You don't put later in front of this verb like that, even though ma is there. فَلِذَلِكَ أَبْقَوْا عَمَلَهَا. This is why they kept it active. They didn't deactivate later with ma. وَأَجَازُوا فِيهَا الْإِهْمَالِ حَمْلًا عَلَى أَخَوَاتِهَا. But they permitted, they rather not necessitated, they didn't completely turn off later when it gets associated with ma and deactivated. They kept it active because it stays particular to nominal sentences, but they made it permissible to deactivate it so that it would operate like its sisters. وَقَدْ رُوِيَ بِالْوَجْهَيْنِ قَوْلُ الشَّاعِرِ. And the saying of the poet was reported in two ways. قالت ألا ليتما هذا الحمام لنا إلى حمامتنا أو نصفه فقدي. So here you see ليتما هذا الحمام or هذا الحمام here. So it's reported both ways. So that shows that it could go either way. And let me ask you another question. So what if we don't know who the poet is? Look how he so often says, like the poet said. And then he gives a line of poetry. Who is this poet? What if we don't have any idea who he is? Could it still be evidence in the Arabic language without knowing who the poet is? Five, 4, 3, 2. Yes, it could be. Correct answer. So then it's enough that it's confirmed to be from the talk of the old Arabs. If it is confirmed as speech of the old Arabs, then not knowing who the speaker is not harmful. And you could use that answer for a Wahhabi if you were arguing about that line of poetry. قد استوى بشر على العراق من غير سيف ودم مهراق. So one thing a Wahhabi would say to you is, the one who said that line of poetry is unknown. That's not true, but even if it were, it doesn't matter. Because that's confirmed to be from the speech of the ancient Arabs. برفع الحمام ونصبه. Okay. وقولي, Ibn Hisham says, and when I said mal harfiyah, ma, the particle ma, and when I said the particle ma, or my saying, my mentioning the particle ma, ihtirazun an mal ismiyah, it's to exclude the nominal ma, which is a noun. There are many ma's in Arabic, more than 10. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تُبْطِلُ عَمَلَهَا. That ma, which is the nominal ma, does not deactivate these particles. وَذَلِكَ كَقَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى. That's like when God said, إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. فما هنا اسم بمعنى الذي. So this ayah here, إنما صنعوا كيد ساحر. This is about the magicians from the story of Moses, alayhi salatu wassalam. And those magicians, they were a team, like a sports team, but they were working for Pharaoh. So they were a team. So they had a plan. That's their kaid here. This team of magicians or wizards. Kaid means a plot. So the ayah is saying, إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. Surely what they made is the plot of a wizard or sorcerer or magician. So you know what they did. They had their ropes and their sticks, and there was a contest. All the people came to see Moses against the magicians. So they threw their sticks and their ropes, and by their magic, which was an incredible feat in magic, they made it appear to the people that their sticks and ropes were moving about like slithering snakes. So Allah told us, إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. So inna, surely, ma, what, or that which. So that's a noun right there, even though the way it's written, it's connected. Ma here means alladhi, that which. Indeed, that which they made is the scheme of a magician. That which they did, yani. That which they did is the scheme of a magician. So inna here is not deactivated. So this is how students of knowledge is going to get confused here. It's going to say, it's not deactivated here? Let's see. So he says, okay, innama sana'u. How's not deactivated? It came right onto a verb. Because it looks like it's saying innama sana'u, innama. Slipping him here that ma here is a noun. Because he's a novice. But then he has to answer, how come kaid then is marfu'? It's not mansub. Because if it means like that, innama sana'u, then looks like should say then, innama sana'u kayda sahir. They made the scheme of a magician. Or they did the scheme of a magician. Why is marfu'? Because if this is marfu' means then should be the doer of the verb. It's not the doer of the verb. The wow is there. The wow is the doer of the verb. Then the way to make all of that make sense then is to say ma here is a noun. It's not the particle that deactivates inna. So inna is actually working on ma. Ma is what's mansub here by inna. That's the noun of inna, and it's mabni on a sukoon fi mahal nasb. And kaid is the khabar of inna. Ibn Hisham says, فَمَا هُنَا اسْمٌ بِمَعْنَى الَّذِي. So ma here is a noun with the meaning of that which. وَهُوَ فِي مَوْضِعِ نَصْبٍ بِإِنَّ. And it's in the spot of nasb by inna. وَصَنَعُوا صِلَةً. And صَنَعُوا is the connecting sentence. If you remember, the al-ismul mawsul has a connecting sentence. What do they call that? Do they call that auxiliary sentence? Yani, it's a sila. So you have to review the chapter on al-ism al-mawsul if that's not clear for you. So sana'u is sila, connecting sentence, maybe auxiliary sentence. Wal-a'idu mahdhuf, and the self-referential pronoun is omitted. Because al-ism al-mawsul, it needs two things: a connecting sentence and a self-referential pronoun, which you can omit. Review the chapter of that and you'll see. You'll remember, inshallah. So the taqdir is innama sana'uhu. That which they did it is the plot of a magician. Wa kaydu sahir al-khabar. And kaydu sahir, the plot of a magician, is the predicate. Wal ma'na, and the meaning is inna alladhi sana'uhu kaydu sahir. Indeed, that which they have done, that which they have performed, is the scheme of a magician. Wallahu a'lam. We'll stop there. The author now wants to talk about lightening inna, so that you say in, but it still means inna. So you know Arabic language has inna and enna, and it has in and en. And there's more than one in, and there's more than one en. We talked about en when we talked about the nawasib of the verb. So review that there, so you can put all your pieces together. That was that en. En, the nasib of the verb. There's en, which is called mukhaffafa, a lightened enna. And there's an in, which is mukhaffafa, a lightened inna. There's other in and there's other en. We're going to talk about the lightened inna and the lightened enna, insha'Allah ta'ala. We'll save that for next week if Allah permits. Do you have any question I can answer for you? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خيرا آمين وفيكم.